Beam us up, Scotty.
Let's talk tech.
Welcome to News.exe, the best technology-centric news show on the Burk IT YouTube channel, guaranteed. I'm Noah Parker.
And I'm Michael Trotter-Lawson. This week we discuss hacking, hackers, and why most popular depictions of them are so very wrong. But first, it's time for notable news you need to know.
Early last week, MasterCard introduced CryptoSource, a new program to enable financial institutions to bring secure crypto trading capabilities and services to their customers. Over the past few years, MasterCard has been working alongside its customers and partners to bring new services and capabilities that help make crypto more accessible, safe, and secure. These efforts have been complemented with the addition of new technologies through Finicity, Ekata, RiskRecon, and CipherTrace. CryptoSource is currently being prepared for pilot programs, and additional details on broader availability will be made available at a later date.
Meta has spent more than $15 billion on its Reality Labs metaverse venture since the beginning of last year. But so far, the company hasn't shared what exactly it's spending the money on. Dan Ives, a tech analyst at Wedbush Securities, said, quote, "The problem is that they spend the money, but the transparency with investors has been a disaster," end quote. Meta does not break out the financial details for its Reality Labs segment, and some feel that its recent announcements have been rather underwhelming. Graphics and features for the metaverse have already been heavily criticized, and Zuckerberg's most exciting recent announcement for the metaverse has been legs. You know, I was a digital media major for a bit, so if Meta wants me to recreate Xbox 360 avatars, but worse, I can do that for $500 million easy.
The Federal Communications Commission is threatening to block calls from voice service providers that have yet to take meaningful action against illegal robocalls. We first discussed the FCC's action against robocalls way back in episode 2, and now providers are facing consequences for a lack of compliance. FCC Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel said in a statement last Monday, "This is a new era. If a provider doesn't meet its obligations under the law, it now faces expulsion from America's phone networks. Fines alone aren't enough," end quote. The FCC's orders target 7 carriers, including Acabis, Cloud4, Global UC, Horizon Technology Group, Morse Communications, Sharon Telephone Company, and SW Arkansas Telecommunications and Technology.
Amazon could soon go to court over its use of the buy box, the most common and convenient way users purchase products on the online marketplace. Lawyers are filing a class action lawsuit with the UK's Competition Appeal Tribunal over claims that the buy box tricks shoppers into paying more than they should. Consumer advocate Julie Hunter says the section favors either Amazon's own products or sellers who use the company's logistics, not the best price or quality of service. The lawsuit seeks damages of £900 million, or roughly $1 billion. It covers any UK resident who has made purchases since October 2016, and it does not require those individuals to opt in. Amazon has stated that it believes the lawsuit is quote-unquote without merit. It maintains that it supports all sellers in the UK marketplace and that more than half of the physical goods sales in the country go through independent sellers. I agree with Amazon here, as I bought from multiple sellers I never would have heard of without Amazon. Sellers like Amazon Basics or Kindle, and who can forget Amazon Essentials, truly a company for the common man.
Smugglers are using social media to dupe Americans into illegally smuggling migrants, offering thousands of dollars for, quote, just a few hours of driving, which coincidentally is also the amount of time it takes to see the biggest fall of twine in Minnesota. Smugglers are roping in drivers as young as 14 to do their dirty work. Popular platforms like Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, TikTok, and Twitter all told the Wall Street Journal that they prohibit these posts. However, according to local and federal law enforcement officials, as well as defense attorneys for Americans recruited on social media, despite those bans, the trend is increasingly common. Due to the bans, most of these posts are only up briefly before being taken down, but often that is enough to reach people susceptible to this allure of quick, albeit dirty money.
Netflix is ratcheting up its efforts to get freeloading viewers to pay up and will start charging accounts for password sharing early next year, instituting a system that adds fees to your plan for extra member sub-accounts when people outside your household use your membership. The company did not specify the price of the new fees when it confirmed the plan on Tuesday, but this scheme is already being tested in a few Latin American countries and charges a fee for each extra member worth roughly 1/4 the price of a standard Netflix plan. If Netflix sticks to this practice, then each extra member sub-account in the US would cost between $3.50 and $4. So if you've been letting your ex mooch off your Netflix account, hoping they would think of you while binge watching Stranger Things, now is probably the time to move on.
If you have a way to see advertising, you are likely aware of the iPhone 14's release and its new feature to automatically detect when its owner has experienced an accident. Perhaps unsurprising, due to the nature of velocity, this feature has led to some unintended consequences, with law enforcement being sent to amusement parks on numerous occasions after mistaking a thrill ride's twists, turns, and hard braking for a real emergency. These false calls are a real problem, as already understaffed 911 dispatch centers do not have the spare time or resources to send emergency services where there is no emergency. As a result, amusement parks and law enforcement are urging users to utilize airplane mode or go without cell phones as they use roller coasters and other thrill rides.
New York is attempting to take action against the growing epidemic of online radicalization, as new legislation is being recommended to punish those who would spread the content of individuals guilty of homicide. This comes in the wake of an investigation into the tragic murder of 10 people in Buffalo, New York earlier this year. According to the Office of the Attorney General, the gunman's content, including snippets of his manifesto, was shared across mainstream platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Among other solutions proposed, AG Letitia James and New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced that they want lawmakers to establish a civil liability so that no one shares extremist content, which can potentially inspire copycats. Extremists will have to post their hate speech across the river in Jersey. Everything is legal in New Jersey.
And that's all for today's notable news you need to know, which means it's almost time for our main story. But first, this.
Everything alright there, bud?
Yeah, I'm good. I thought all my data was compromised. I had the worst nightmare.
Well, if you're that concerned about your data being compromised, then you should talk to
Burk IT. We use the best tools in the industry to keep our clients safe and secure, so you can be scared for the right reasons this Halloween.
Today, our main story is about hacking, the way it's depicted, and how those depictions compare with reality. A commonly used definition for hacking is the act of compromising digital devices and networks through unauthorized access to an account or computer system. Hacking is not always a malicious act, but it is typically associated with illegal activity and data theft by cybercriminals. Hacking refers to the misuse of devices like computers, smartphones, tablets, and networks to cause damage to or corrupt systems, gather information on users, steal data and documents, or disrupt data-related activity. You probably already knew that, but there are a great many nuances and details to hacking that you should be aware of. Oh, gotta go, my ride's here.
The term hacking originates from the 1970s, though it only came into common use during the 80s with movies like Tron and War Games. In 1980, a group of teenagers cracked the computer systems of major organizations like Los Alamos National Laboratory, Security Pacific Bank, and Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and a Newsweek article covering the event became the first to use the word hacker in the negative light it now holds. This event also led Congress to pass several bills around computer crimes, back in my day when Congress actually passed legislation. But that did not stop the number of high-profile attacks on corporate and government systems. Of course, the concept of hacking has spiraled with the release of the public internet, which has led to far more opportunities and more lucrative rewards for hacking activity. This saw techniques evolve and increase in sophistication, and gave birth to a wide range of types of hacking and hackers.
There are 5 main motivators for hackers today: financial gain, corporate espionage, notoriety, political statements, and/or state-sponsored hacking. In addition, there are 3 types of hackers who carry out these activities: black, white, and gray hat hackers. Black hat hackers are likely what the average person thinks of when they think of a hacker. These individuals go out of their way to discover vulnerabilities in computer systems and software to exploit them for personal, national, or corporate gain. They can have a massive negative impact on computer users and the organizations they work for. White hat hackers, on the other hand, are the quote-unquote good guys. They actively work to break into systems to expose vulnerabilities to the people at risk. For instance, these hackers would discover vulnerabilities in Windows 10 and inform Microsoft so they could patch the vulnerabilities before people with malicious intent, aka bad actors, can take advantage of them. Sadly, hacking is the only job that does not become easier when you are an invisible man.
That leaves gray hat hackers. This encompasses the wide range of hackers between the white and black hat hackers at either end of the spectrum. Unlike black hat hackers, they attempt to violate standards and principles, but without the intention of doing harm or to gain financially. Their actions are typically carried out for the common good. For example, they may exploit a vulnerability to raise awareness that it exists, but unlike white hat hackers, they do so publicly. This alerts malicious actors to the existence of the vulnerability. However, given that vulnerabilities are most dangerous when only black hat hackers are aware of them, gray hat hackers are still primarily acting for the good of the public. Simultaneously, governments and corporations would certainly prefer these individuals did not operate in the way that they did. Of course, gray hat hackers wouldn't have to do what they do if corporations and governments weren't dropping the ball when it came to IT security.
We have now talked about who is hacking and why they are doing it. Let's now discuss how they make this happen. For one, it's an outdated misconception that most hackers consist of lone rogue programmers who are highly skilled in coding and modifying computer software and hardware systems. Today, hacking is a multi-billion-dollar industry with whole teams of people working to infiltrate systems, and even more common today, working to trick users into granting them legitimate access. Social engineering, or tricking users into giving up passwords or other compromising data, is easily the most common form of modern network infiltration. The notion of hackers spending hours upon hours attempting to crack some code to infiltrate some computer or network is a bit of a dated, inaccurate view of hacking.
We are finally on to misconceptions about hacking. Hollywood has been trying to portray hacking in an entertaining way for about 40 years now, and they have taken many creative liberties in their portrayals. For starters, one of, if not the most common trope of hacking in films and TV is the visual of hackers typing code at this absurd speed. The faster, the better. While talented hackers can certainly write code much faster than the average person, creating a program is a slow, deliberate process that involves a lot of trial and error. Plus, keep in mind that hackers are not writing an essay or novel. A lot of writing code involves copying and pasting the same lines of code repeatedly. Along those same lines, there is no spell check or autocorrect in your average programming language. So typing absurdly fast is most likely just going to lead to mistakes that these individuals will have to spend hours trying to go back and fix. Just like the BBC is trying to fix Doctor Who by going back 3 regenerations.
There are many misconceptions of hacking in media, truly too many for us to cover in this show, but the other one we want to debunk is the visual representation of hacking on the computers themselves. The problem that films and TV shows face with showing hacking in popular media is that it is very uninteresting to look at. Often you'll see these digital 3D representations of computer systems and hacking programs, but this is extremely inaccurate. Malware is scary and dangerous because of the damage it can do, but visually it's usually very mundane. If you have ever downloaded any normal software or file or anything that has the capability of altering a computer, you'll know what it looks like to incidentally use malicious software. Hackers today deliberately design malware and hacks to look normal. They do not want to stand out, at least not until after they have what they want.
Hacking is so incredibly important at this modern age of digital dependence. We are already at a point where we have come to rely on computers and technology in every facet of our lives, even if we do not necessarily believe so. Banks, hospitals, and many more businesses and organizations need computers to operate effectively and efficiently. So hackers who are out to compromise those systems, for whatever reason, must be understood and discussed in a realistic manner. We are not out to bash media's depiction of hacking and hackers. They're just out to entertain. But it's important to know just how inaccurate those depictions are. Hacking, generally speaking, is not interesting for the average person to look at. There's no progress bars or 3D environment, or fingers moving so fast it'll set the place ablaze. You likely will not know about a hacker compromising your system until your computer stops working the way it's supposed to.
That's our show today. Come back in 2 weeks for more details on our upcoming 12-hour charity live stream, and consider checking out our blog and newsletter at burkitc.com.
Thanks for watching, and happy Halloween!
If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, and if you really enjoyed it, subscribe for more.